The next storyteller coming up, the advice that he got that is his favorite. He said his father always said, do what your mind tells you. But so many other things also say, follow the heart. And that he really thinks that the hybrid of the two is the best bet. So follow your heart and follow your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Bitwinski.
Thank you, Cindy, and hello, everyone. So recently I saw a movie called The Martian. And The Martian is about an astronaut stranded on Mars. And near the very end of the movie, Matt Damon, who's the lead actor in the movie, is addressing a group of astronaut candidates. And he tells them to listen closely, and he says something like this to them. Space does not cooperate. At some point, everything is going to go south on you, everything. And you're going to absolutely feel like you're going to die. So what do? You just start and you begin solving problems. And I said, wow, I lived that. It was a flashback to my experiences on September 11th. And I remember clearly that day that the terrorists did not cooperate. They destroyed much and they killed many. And I remember traveling on the elevators that morning and going up into space and reaching my workstation on the 69th floor and settling down. And then a half hour later, the plane strikes. And I'm thrown onto my desk. And the building's violently shaking back and forth. And I can hear the steel crunching. And I get up out of my seat, and the floor is rolling beneath my feet, and my mind is racing. And it feels like everything is just going to cave in and I'm going to go flying down 69 flights. And I whisper to myself, is this where it all ends for me? Is this where I die? But I didn't die. And I'd like to share with you the rest of my 9/11 story. So I have a friend, his name is John Abruzzo. And John's a quadriplegic. I had worked with him a number of years, and at the time, John's working on the other side of the floor. And I knew John, like I, arrived to work early, and John would need help to evacuate. So I go over to the other side of the floor, and I'm reaching the hallway, and who is the first person that I run into? It's John. But it's not good, because John's in shock, and he's staring straight ahead. And I say, John, where's your evac chair? And he just waves his hand and he says, it's over there. So I go over to the east side of the floor, and shortly after that I find the evac chair. And I come back to the hallway where John is, and this tremendous thing happens. 9 of my coworkers are there, ready to help. Peggy and Gerald and Philip and Richie, Tony, Wilson, the 3 Mikes. And all of us are there, and there's no questions asked. We just start, and we remove John from his wheelchair. We settle him into the evacu chair. We gather ourselves. We decide 2 guys at the bottom of the evac chair, 2 at the top, and we begin our journey down the 69 flights. And at first, we're rolling along real well. The first floors were real easy. And then we began to encounter problems. When we reached into the floors of the 40s, there began to be a lot more smoke and heat. And we sent a few scouts ahead, and we decided to change staircases, and it was a good move because the other staircase was a lot cooler. And then we reached the 34th floor, and we have to stick to our right because people are moving upward in the staircase, buildings operations people and firefighters, and my distinct memory of all the equipment the firefighters were carrying, and how some of them were slumped against the side of the staircase, just trying to catch their breath to continue to go up and rescue people. True heroes with real courage. And then we reach the 21st floor, and the police meet up with us, and they tell us that we have to leave the staircase because they're moving equipment upward in the staircase, and we have to go onto the police command center floor. And when we're on that floor, they ask us, They want us to take John from us. And we say, absolutely no. We've gone this far with John. It was unanimous among us, just like in The Martian. We went with John this far, we were going the rest of the way down with him. And it was on that floor a few minutes later when the building violently shakes again. It sounded like a bomb, and that was Tower 2 crashing down next to us. And that got us to be more urgent. And we got back into the staircase, and we make it down to the 10th floor. And then our real frantic moment happens. We stop in the staircase. We wait a few seconds, and some of us in our group and some of the people behind us start shouting down, "You got to start moving. We got to get down." And shortly thereafter, we do start moving. And we continue the rest of the way down in the staircase. The lowest floor is a lot more water, a lot more debris, but we navigate around, and we finally reach the lobby of the building, and we exit the building onto West Street. It's 10:15 in the morning, about an hour and a half after the plane hit. And we get out there, and it's like a ghost town. Nobody's around. And we start moving to our first corner on West Street, and we glance back at our tower, and there's a lot of smoke and haze still in the sky, and what we thought was debris coming down. And then we look again, and we realize it wasn't debris coming down. It was people jumping from the top of the tower, and sometimes they were jumping alone, tumbling with their arms out, sometimes holding the hand of a partner, and it hurt a lot. We were World Trade Center workers too, and we knew that all these people did was come to work, and now they're dying. And the pain will always be there. And then a roaring sound happens, and the ground shakes like an earthquake, and we look behind us, and a giant cloud is approaching at us. And in seconds, Tower 1 is coming down, and we grab John, and we duck into the nearby Stuyvesant School, and we close the door behind us, and we look through the small glass window, and it's turning gray, and then very gray, and then completely dark. And that was it. Our tower was down. We were half disbelieving, half in shock about what had happened in them 102 minutes. So what did our group really do on September 11th? Did we cooperate to help a paralyzed individual? Were we a group of coworkers and friends who helped and assisted our friend? Were we setting a good example for kids with teamwork and persistence? Were we just simply doing a good deed? Was God with us? Was luck on our side? Did fate intervene to allow us to escape and survive by only 15 minutes? I don't know, but I do know is this. Life brings you to certain places and with certain people and at certain moments. And for us, destiny, for us 10, along with John, was to be there on September 11th to escape and to survive. And we're fortunate for that. So, for Tracy and Maureen and Arlene and Lee and Ray and Matthew and all those who lost someone dear to them on September 11th, for all the firefighters that passed by us and the people we saw jumping and everyone who died on September 11th, and for all the innocent people in Paris who lost their lives last week through terrorism and who continue to get struck down by terrorism. I hope our group was one proof, one small example, that terrorism didn't completely win on September 11th, that humanity won also, and humanity will always win. Thank you.